All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started this morning. Thank you to everyone for being here and spending time with us this morning. Today, we're going to be doing an overview of what registered apprenticeship is and what apprenticeship programs could look like in the manufacturing sector. So we're going to hear from Maine Apprenticeship Program directly about that. We're going to hear from Educate Maine about their role as an intermediary sponsor in building out registered apprenticeship programs and helping out employers along the way. And then we're going to hear from Kenway Composites, which is one of our Maine-based employers that does have a registered apprenticeship program, and they have some apprentices here today to speak with us about their experience as well. So hopefully this should be a really informative session, and look forward to answering any questions that anybody might have along the way. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it off to Christine McAllister from Maine Apprenticeship Program to give a brief overview of why registered apprenticeship.
All right. Hello, everyone. So as Hannah said, I'm with the Maine Apprenticeship Program within the Maine Department of Labor, and we register apprenticeship programs with the state. And when we do that, that means they're also nationally registered. So today I'm going to just give a brief overview so that when we talk about registered apprenticeship, everyone has the same understanding of what that means. And then I think you're probably most interested to hear from Educate Maine and one of our employers that are actually on the ground doing the work. So the first question that we usually get asked is why? Why would you do registered apprenticeship within your company? And there are a number of reasons for that. One is that you can widen your recruitment pool. If you are only looking for fully trained people, that talent pool can be pretty limited. And apprenticeship is a way that you can, set some base core skills that you want some individuals to have. And if you're willing to train those people, that's where it can widen your pool of candidates. So it's a way to build talent rather than buy talent. It also can lead to a more diverse workforce because you are, opening up, who you are deeming qualified for apprenticeship and you're willing to train those individuals. So as an example, Kenway Composites today, they are partnering with one of our career and technical education schools and hiring students that are coming out of those schools directly into these programs. And so, targeting 18-year-olds, maybe that wasn't one of your recruitment strategies in the past, but it's something that you certainly can do because you can train those individuals to do the tasks at your job. There's also really good retention rates with apprenticeship. For those that complete apprenticeship, over 90% are still with that employer after 1 year. And as we all know, it does take money to recruit and train individuals. And so retention is a really key piece to maintaining your workforce and also reducing the costs within your company. And the other thing I want to, mention is that apprenticeship is really customized to fit your needs. We have basic templates of, what different positions could be, but ultimately it's your training program. And so we want to make a program that you can repeat time after time, and that is meeting the needs of your business. On the apprentice side, you have your training program, now you need apprentices. So why would someone be an apprentice? Well, they get paid to learn, which is a pretty good, winning recruitment strategy, right? To attract people to your company. So they're coming in, at a lower wage than someone that's fully trained, but they are a paid employee from day one, and then they get increased wages as they go. And you all would, as employers, would determine what those wages are. The other piece of apprenticeship that's really appealing to apprentices typically is having that mentor support. So I know I can say that I've been in jobs where you maybe have a day of orientation and then figure it out, what your job is, what you need to do. Apprenticeship isn't like that. You have a mentor, you have someone there that's showing the ropes, and checking your work and giving you that feedback and that advice. So apprenticeship exists in a lot of different industries. If you've heard of apprenticeship, it's probably more along the lines of, construction, an electrician or a plumber, but it exists in many different industries. And today our focus is on manufacturing, which there are lots of options within manufacturing in terms of what occupations that we can turn into an apprenticeship program. So in terms of, what it is, what are the key components? The first is that it is business and industry led. So, whether it is a position that you are looking to hire, entry level and train someone, or if you are looking to upskill current people within your organization into higher level positions. It goes, whatever your workforce needs are, that's where we develop the apprenticeship program around. As I mentioned, it is a paid job, so they are paid employees of the organization, and it's a minimum of 2,000 hours of on-the-job training. And what that equates to is about a year of full-time work. It doesn't have to be full-time, but that's just kind of the equivalent of it. And that on-the-job training includes that mentorship. There's also a supplemental education or related instruction piece of at least 144 hours. And that depends on how long your program is. And that is, some safety training and that theoretical knowledge to help those apprentices on the job site. So it's not just taking English 101 for English 101's sake. It is something that is, those are classes, trainings, whether in person or online, that are going to help them in that position. And like I said, when we register programs within the state, they are nationally recognized. So that apprentice gets a certificate from us that's a nationally recognized credential. In terms of who can be an apprentice, from our perspective, it's anyone 16 years or older. Now, you may have different requirements, especially within the industry. 18 is pretty common within manufacturing, but for our purposes, at least 16. And you have to have work authorization. Those are pretty much our only two requirements for us. Other requirements are set by you, the employer. So you may require a high school diploma or other education, or maybe someone could be working towards it. Maybe they're still in school and working on their diploma. You may also put some physical requirements in terms of lifting, standing, things like that. They may require a driver's license. But if they aren't operating company vehicles, then maybe, they just need a valid ID. So we kind of work with you on what those requirements are. And there's a couple different ways we can set up your program, time-based, hybrid, or competency-based. And I won't get into all those specifics today, but we set it up to either measure how long someone's on the job site, or do they have all the competencies you want that employee to need? Or is it a mix of both? And so we work with you to establish what those parameters are. And same with the classroom training. You could do that all up front. You can do that throughout the apprenticeship. It can be in person, it can be hybrid, it can be remote. And so we work with you to, develop that framework. And then the other piece I want to mention, which will lead into the next speaker, which is Educate Maine, is that there's different types of apprenticeship sponsors. So you can have your own, you can be your own apprenticeship sponsor, run your own program, and be registered individually with us as a single business. You can also partner with the union. We have, different unions that run their own training programs, and have many different of their signatory employers underneath of them. And you can also partner with what we call an intermediary sponsor. So they're like the go-between between you and us, with the Department of Labor, and they help you set up the programs, maintain and manage those programs. So Educate Maine is one of our intermediaries. And so they work directly with the businesses to set up these programs, get all the paperwork together to get you set up, and then submit that over to us. So, what's the next step? If, after this presentation, you're interested in starting a program, you can reach out to us at Maine Apprenticeship at maine.gov, and we can set up a meeting with someone from our team to talk about what your needs are as a business, go through apprenticeship in more detail, answer any questions you have, and then go from there. And we can also connect you with, entities like Educate Maine or other intermediaries that we work with across the state. So with that, I think we can take questions at any point. If you have them, stick them in the chat, but we will have time at the end for some discussion and Q&A. So thank you so much. And now I'd like to turn it over to Educate Maine to talk about their manufacturing apprenticeships and the services that they offer.
Hannah, you're muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that. It's Wednesday morning. Wonderful. Thank you, Christine. Would like to give a brief introduction and overview about Educate Maine, which is one of the many intermediary sponsors of registered apprenticeship programs and certified apprenticeship programs in the state of Maine, to share a little bit about who we are, what we do, and what some of the supports that we can provide employers are in helping navigate the process of building out these programs. So for those of you that are unaware, Educate Maine is a statewide business-led nonprofit that engages education and business partners to align and advance these sectors. You may have heard of us through some of the signature programs that we run, such as the Project Login program, the Maine Career Catalyst program, and the State and County Teacher of the Year programs. But we are a statewide 501c3 nonprofit that works with a variety of education and business partners and community-based organizations that work really closely with young adults and job seekers in our state. Within the umbrella of the Educate Maine organization, there is a program called Maine Career Catalyst that specifically focuses on providing professional development, social opportunities, and networking opportunities for experiential learners working in Maine. So for a long time, we have run a flagship summer internship program where we engage interns for the summer months who work for Maine-based businesses that are enrolled in typically 4-year college degree programs. We've run that program really successfully with the goal of helping attract and retain young talent in the state of Maine, to show young folks specifically that there are a lot of personal and professional opportunities available in their state beyond what they might recognize as available, and really to be able to help them see themselves really thrive in our state personally and professionally. So in addition to that internship program, we wanted to be able to build out a variety of types of experiential learning programs that's engaging any young job seeker that is interested in finding and building a career in the state of Maine. So engaging students that, might not be in your typical post-secondary degree program, but really are looking for that hands-on, engaging, work-based learning experience, but are looking for something a little bit more in-depth and robust than just navigating the world of the workforce on their own, something a little bit more structured and supportive than that, and something that's able to offer them year-round employment and learning as opposed to your typical summer internship. So that's a little bit about us as an organization. And we are a recognized intermediary sponsor of registered apprenticeship and certified pre-apprenticeship programs in the state of Maine. So what that means is we work individually, one-on-one, with a variety of different Maine-based employers. They can be as small employers to large employers. We work with employers across different industries and sectors in our state, and across a few geographic locations, which makes us really unique in the intermediary sponsor role, in that we have a lot of flexibility in terms of what types of programs we can build out and what types of organizations we can partner with. So we are not limited to working with just one industry or just one geographic part of the state. We're really and that way, flexible to meet the needs of our employers and our job seekers. Our emphasis, as I mentioned earlier, is on recruiting youth participants into these programs. So really that 16 to 24-year-old age range. I think the average age of apprentices in our state right now is in their 30s, which is fantastic. An apprenticeship is an excellent opportunity for those mid-career job seekers or those veterans who are returning to the workforce or folks moving to Maine kind of in the middle of their life. But we see apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship as a really valuable training and learning opportunity for our younger students so that we can start to engage them while they're still in high school as they graduate and really be able to work with them to identify really key opportunities very young as young professionals in our state. That said, we do have older apprentices as well. We have a 52-year-old apprentice. So we work, as I said, very flexible, but that is our emphasis is on engaging and recruiting youth participants into these programs. And generally, we work to just increase awareness about apprenticeship pathways across the state with our education partners, with our nonprofit and community-based partners around the state that work with youth and work with job seekers so that eventually we get to the point where registered apprenticeship and certified pre-apprenticeship is a very well-known opportunity among young folks in our state, just as well-known as going into a post-secondary degree program full-time or into the military or into the workforce. So what does Educate Maine actually do as an intermediary sponsor? We provide customized one-on-one, step-by-step assistance to our employer partners in creating and registering apprenticeship programs. So there is a little bit of paperwork required to be able to get a program approved by the Maine Department of Labor and the Maine Apprenticeship Program. And so we'll work with employers to figure out what that paperwork looks like. We'll work with you from just the concept of what occupation might you want to have an apprenticeship program in, to what does that actually look like? What are the specific on-the-job knowledge and skills that you'll want your apprentices to learn? What are the educational requirements that you want to build into that program for your apprentices to learn? How will you evaluate apprentices as they progress through their program? What will that wage schedule look like? We will help you as an employer figure out all of those details and provide you with examples so that you don't have to go through that process of designing and creating an apprenticeship program on your own from scratch. Once you get in a program that is ready to be approved by the state, we will maintain a lot of those communications so that we communicate directly with the Maine Apprenticeship Program and the Maine Department of Labor so that employers don't have to worry about that component. We are an intermediary in terms of those types of communications. And we don't just work with you to create a program and get it approved and say, congratulations, see ya, go run and enjoy your program. We don't leave employers after that stage whatsoever. We really continue to work with employers on a close basis after their program is approved by the state. So we help them identify opportunities for recruiting apprentices. We help them onboard their apprentices into their programs, help them with ongoing any sort of data tracking or administrative requirements. Generally think of us as an added staff person that you don't have to pay that will help you manage and run this internal workforce development program for you. We can also help promote your apprenticeship program through our communications and our networks and provide both employers and apprentices and pre-apprentice participants themselves with additional support, whether that be financial support for wraparound services or additional financial support to help get a program up and running. So just a few examples of what apprenticeship programs can look like. We are the intermediary sponsor for a couple of different registered apprenticeship programs at the Jackson Laboratory. And so we worked with them really closely to develop out their internal on-the-job training. And then we partnered with the Jackson Laboratory to be able to work with Eastern Maine Community College to provide some of that related instruction so that some of that can be external that their apprentices can benefit from. We also worked with them to establish opportunities for some of that related instruction to be done in-house as well. Another example of an employer that we've worked with is Goodwin Motors. We worked with them to develop an automotive technician apprenticeship program. So again, worked with them to develop out what that in-house training looked like, and then was able to work with them to identify some online industry standard training that they're able to use for their related instruction. And then we were able to work with one of the local career and technical education schools, Region 10, to certify their existing 2-year automotive technology program as a pre-apprenticeship program to build out that pipeline from students while they're still in high school into, the second they graduate, they can become a full-time apprentice at Goodwin Motors. And that path and that pipeline is really clear to those students in terms of what local opportunities are available to them. So these are just a couple of examples of what apprenticeship programs can look like, what different examples of the related instruction of apprenticeship programs can look like. But although we are the intermediary sponsor, we work really closely with employers to be able to help them identify what their specific needs are and what their specific, how they want to structure their program. So we help employers make sure that they're building out a program that meets all of the guidelines and requirements of the Maine Apprenticeship Program so that they're in compliance with those standards. But there's a lot of opportunity for flexibility for employers to customize programs to best meet their needs. And we are always willing to work with employers to make sure that programs are tailored exactly to what they're looking for in terms of their workforce needs and their workers' professional development needs. So that said, would love to direct you to our website where you can learn a little bit more about what we are, what we do, and you can see examples of some of the current programs that we sponsor. As you'll see, they're quite a wide variety, and encourage you to contact myself or my colleague, John DeLorme. We're workforce development specialists that work really closely with employers around the state to take it one step further from the concept of what is registered apprenticeship to what could that look like for you to actually building out a successful program. So in addition to checking out all of the resources and support that the Maine Apprenticeship Program offers on their website, you can also reach out to us directly and initiate some of those conversations and see where we can go from there. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and would love to turn it over to the wonderful folks at Kenway Composites. We have some of their staff there, and we are very fortunate enough to have some of their apprentices as well. Cynthia, would you like to start out with just giving a little bit of background and context for Kenway Composites in terms of, what the process was like for you all in terms of building out a program? Why were you interested in registered apprenticeship to begin with, and how things have been going for you all in terms of any particular successes or challenges that you have faced?
Sure. I'm Cindy Phelps. I'm the HR and safety manager here at Kenway Composites. We have a total of about 42 employees. So you can imagine with that limited head count, it's very important that we recruit and retain talented people. And why did we choose to participate in the program is all the reasons you listed on your slide in the very beginning. We wanted to recruit the talented people. We wanted to retain those talented people and, continue and maintain our positive work environment. We felt like that was a good way to do it. I also have here our mentor, Greg Wilcox. And then as you mentioned, we have our actual apprentices here. This is Caleb Hutchinson and Tyler Spagnardi. They both started as in the pre-apprenticeship program while they were finishing their final year at Foster Tech. They're actually our intermediary. They're the ones that helped us establish our program, and it's been a very good working relationship. And they started as full-time apprentices after they graduated. And so they're halfway through the program now, and they're on track. They're meeting all their goals. And, all of our seasoned employees enjoy working with them and have nothing but good things to say about them. So we're excited to see who may join us next year for our pre-apprenticeship program. We're looking forward to having someone join us April, May timeframe. So everything's been going well so far. Greg, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, it's been going very well. I've been working with Kenneth Foster for about 12 years. We jumped on the program when the when he came available, I'm extremely happy with him. You get employees who want to be in the industry. They want to be in composites and not just going to come in here, work a couple of days and weeks and say, hey, it's not for me, and see you. Now, that's what I like about it. You get people who want to do this type of work.
And how does the internal apprenticeship program differ from, you know, any regular new hire employees that you might take on? What is on a kind of day-to-day basis and onboarding basis? How does working with apprentices differ from working with some of your other employees?
Through the apprenticeship program, the good thing is they come with, through Foster Tech, they're already getting a level of safety training and other trainings so when they come here, they already have advanced knowledge of what the requirements are, what our safety requirements are. When we're hiring someone off the street, they may not necessarily have all of the skills that we want them to have. And we're starting day one, you know, investing a lot of our time into that training portion. And oftentimes, I mean, there's been times where we've had people come in and work 2 or 3 days, and, you know, we invest a lot of time into that training, and then, you know, they decide it's not for them, and that's fine. But the thing about the apprenticeship is you're getting people who already have training in the field. They already have some safety training in the field, and they want to be in this field. So I guess you could say there's that assurance that the time that you're investing into those apprentices, we get a payback for it, basically.
It's value added.
Yes.
I mean, they have basic knowledge and they just you got to refine them. They hit the ground running. And it's been fantastic.
Yes. They tend to pick up a lot quicker. They tend to learn techniques, you know, much faster. They're engaged. They're more engaged in what work we're producing. So.
Wonderful. Well, I don't know about you all, but I have a couple questions for your apprentices and would love to start out with, you know, why were you initially interested in the apprenticeship position at Kenway Composites, and how did you find out about that opportunity first?
Well, I was first interested because my brother worked here, and he was telling me how good composites work was and how like he loved it, and I was like, yeah, that's a really good job. So I took the class in high school, and my teacher was like, hey, we got this apprenticeship program that we're just starting up. Would you like to start it? What company do you want to go to? And then she got a hold of Kenway for me, and we started it off.
Pretty much the same thing for me. I mean, I took that class in high school and knew I liked it after my junior year. And once we hit senior year, our teacher was like, you know, an apprenticeship with you guys. And we're like, yeah, of course, we loved it. And basically from there,
And we both knew we just weren't for college, and we wanted to go straight into the workforce, so it was perfect for us, really.
Did either of you have any previous experience or knowledge in the composites field before? I know you mentioned that you knew that your brother did it, but a lot of the skills that are required for the position that you're in now, was a lot of that things that you had to pick up while you were an apprentice, or did you come into the position with some understanding of what that position would look like and what it would take to do it?
So our teacher back in high school taught us quite a bit, just like the basics of like fiberglass and composite materials and the safety training on like the chemicals. So we knew quite a bit before the apprenticeship, but
yeah, we really only scratched the surface in school. Once we came in here, there's so much more to learn, but it's all basically, you know, same ideas.
Wonderful. What has been the most interesting or surprising thing about being an apprentice at Kenway that maybe you weren't anticipating or expecting?
Probably how much more I learned from Kenway than I did in school. Like in school, it wasn't too much. It was just like, this is fiberglass and this is resin. You put them together and it makes a part. But here, you're learning different types of fiberglass, different resins, everything.
Pretty much same thing. It's just, there's so much, there's something new every day. You know, you get jobs thrown at you and you basically learn as you go.
Problem solving too, Tyler, huh?
Yeah,
And
a lot of problem
and that
solving.
won't change.
Yeah.
I've been
no.
here 30 years and
Oh,
I
yeah.
still learn stuff every day.
So I love, hearing your stories, going from school to the workplace and doing that as an apprentice. And so I think oftentimes a lot of people think they have to go to college maybe, or military, or they just go get a job, right? But apprenticeship, you're getting additional training, but you're also working, right? And you're getting a paycheck. So it's kind of a continuation of that. And as Cynthia mentioned, you all are employers underneath Foster Career and Technical Education Center out in Farmington. We also have other tech schools in the state that serve in that capacity, like Somerset Career and Technical Center. And then, Hannah, you mentioned this briefly, but we work closely with the schools, and Educate Maine works with Region 10. As a program, the employer is actually underneath Educate Maine, but the students are getting their education as a pre-apprentice, getting ready for that apprenticeship. They're getting that education at school. So there's a lot of different, models, and it's really connecting the dots for you all, helping figure out where you can grow that talent pipeline, and where, hopefully we can help develop the workforce and get people, some good paying jobs that are right here in Maine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really great point. And speaking about, both of you had mentioned that you got some of your schooling in high school, and it was relevant, but it kind of scratched the surface, but you knew that college wasn't for you. So how has being an apprentice already helped you achieve any of your personal or career goals, where you knew that college wasn't for you, you wanted to go into the workforce, and how has apprenticeship gotten you to where you want to go after you graduated high school?
I mean, you see all your friends go off to college and you stay home and kind of, I think I miss a little bit of like my buddies, but when you see how much money you're bringing in, like I can go buy a car. We both have bought cars since we've been here. And I know we have apartments in our future closer to here, so we can, it's not as long as our travel. And I just think our lives are just we just kind of jump started a little bit on what I wanted to do at least.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, it was definitely a goal for me to be in the composites workforce, and I didn't expect to be in this big of a warehouse, and I'm like really excited to be like in a warehouse this big.
Wonderful. And what is one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who is maybe considering an apprenticeship program based on your experience?
Do it if they will. Do it because it's awesome. Really.
Yeah.
That's a big help for me. It was like I couldn't have done it by myself, really, though.
And don't be afraid to just step out of your box and try something new, because you never know. It could change your life forever.
Love that enthusiasm. And what has the mentorship piece been like? What's been the benefit to some of your seasoned employees of working with these apprentices, and what has been the benefit for you as apprentices in working with these subject matter experts who know the job really well?
Mostly it's like the little tricks that just make you time efficient and just helps you work better and smoother together, really.
And if you ever have like a doubt in your mind or anything about what you're doing, you know you have someone there that you can ask anything, and more than likely they will have an answer for you. You don't have to be scared and like try anything and be scared about failing.
One thing that I've seen with our seasoned employees is, and we don't often think about the impact that the apprenticeship program would have on a seasoned employee, but they get a little bit excited, you know, when someone comes in and they want to learn what they know. It's a renewed excitement for them in their field, and when they see these guys succeed, you see that pride. So to me, it's almost like almost more of a benefit to our seasoned employees in a way than for the apprentices that are coming in. It's a real joy for them to have them here.
Yes, they know they're gonna be here, and they know if they put some time in teaching them something,
Right,
they're gonna be here tomorrow, not go, hey, where's that guy? Well, he quit.
right,
I mean, I've had them say that.
right.
No, I don't wanna train that guy. He ain't gonna be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
They know you guys will be.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Can I ask a question? So how many apprentices do you bring in per year? Maybe I'm getting ahead. I missed the first 10 minutes and I apologize. I missed the first 10 minutes of this meeting. But how many do you bring in? Like, is it a yearly thing that you do or biannual or?
Well, we partner with the Foster Tech, and as they identify students there that would be a good potential fit for Kenway, they contact us. Generally, we do a tour of the facility as part of that educational program, either junior or senior year. So they might bring in, what's the max of students they brought in here, Willie?
13, 14.
13, 14 at a time, just to tour the facility and speak with the seasoned employees. But last year we did 2 that were identified. These are the 2 that were identified. Next year we have 1 identified. So we are a small facility, so it's a smaller scale. But we are really interested in finding that talent. So our numbers are, you know, I guess from an apprenticeship program standpoint, some employers think you have to have a large scale and it has to be a big program. But we're smaller and we do it on a much smaller scale, and we've had great success so far.
Right. I think that's a good approach. So that was where I was trying to understand, like, is it a large amount of students or,
Right.
just starting out? I think a few is really helpful, and it's okay.
Our
Good.
direct head count is only 28. And it's very critical that, all of those 28 people are engaged, and, we have to be careful about who we bring in. So
Right.
we want to make sure that we get that talent and we retain that talent.
Yes. Yes. Agreed. Good. Thank you.
What I hear you saying is that you're focused more on the quality of that talent more than the quantity of people, bodies coming in. You're
That's
looking for that
correct.
quality talent.
Correct.
Yep.
Well, I've asked a lot of questions, so would welcome the opportunity if anybody else has any questions for the group from Kenway today, or for Educate Maine or Maine Apprenticeship Program. You have us, so we'll answer anything.
Well, we'd definitely love to hear if anyone is an employer that has questions. We'd love to hear from them. So Heather, thank you for asking your question. If anyone else has any other questions, we'd love to hear them.
So I work at Timber HP in Madison, and so we're fairly new. We're just getting up and running. We're not quite ready for an apprenticeship program, but I definitely am interested to know how this works, because I do think down the road this is something we will have. And so I'm just trying. It's really helpful to hear from the other employers and their successes and how they go about identifying apprentices and you know how it works for you, and any tips and things is helpful. So I will definitely be looking at the websites that you posted earlier as well, just to kind of get a full understanding behind me on how this works, because we're new, but you know, we might be a year away, but it's important to try to gather all that information. So I appreciate this meeting. Thank you.
I think on a smaller scale, working with that intermediary is probably what was most helpful to us.
Yeah.
And having Foster Tech as our intermediary that's what has worked, because they walked through the whole process. We said, hey, we're an employer, we're interested in this, you know, and they pretty much helped us get through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Jordan McMullen, who works at Foster Tech for the program, you actually have, they will identify a person that can help you and get you through the whole process. They made it really easy.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
And Cynthia, I would echo that, you know, we have a couple big manufacturers in the state, but we do have a lot of smaller manufacturers around Maine, and having that intermediary can really help you start that process. And you know, they kind of know that information, they can walk you through it. So whether it's Foster Tech or Somerset Tech or Educate Maine, you know, they're all really well versed in apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship, and can help facilitate those connections. So you know, Heather, you know, in terms of setting it up, I think this is a great time, you know, to start thinking about it and putting together a framework that's going to work for you, you know, identifying, you know, what is your biggest pain point in terms of the occupation, and then, you know, talking with one of the intermediaries, you know, that's where, you know, we can help facilitate those connections and help you figure out what the best path forward is.
Yes. And I thank you. So.
I might just want to add that, you know, when you think of manufacturing, people might think of like kind of the old school manufacturing, but we all know that it's a lot different now. And it's, you know, there's a lot of different types of occupations, a lot of different types of things to do with manufacturing. And we can kind of build an apprenticeship program that works for any type of employer, any type of occupation. So this is a manufacturing specific call, but, you know, we can have apprenticeships for almost any occupation that requires, you know, that mid-level skill or more. And it can go for, you know, it can be a kind of a big, robust program, or it can be kind of smaller as well. So, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, you can kind of think broadly about what occupations and what positions you'd want to have for an apprenticeship program.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kenway Composites team, do you have any last nuggets of wisdom or advice? Thank you again for taking the time to share your experience. It's really valuable to us.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Do you have any final words, fellas?
Wonderful. Well, if there are no more questions, we can close out the call here. Definitely encourage you to follow up with any questions or comments or ideas with either Educate Maine or the Maine Apprenticeship Program or Kenway Composites. A next step, if you'd be interested in having just a follow-up, like 30-minute conversation to talk about ideas or next steps, welcome that at any time. And again, thank you for being here today. And we will have this recording available after the session gets over so that you can go back and watch any part of it. And wonderful. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
very much.
For having us
Thank you.
join. Thank you.
Special
Thank you.
thanks to the apprentices for coming in.
Yeah,
Welcome, thank
Yeah.
you.
thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Have a good day.
You too.